Final Fantasy 11 Apex parties. Let's get into it. Look, Final Fantasy 11 has always found a way to add a grind past the end of the grind. When you think you've hit level 75, merit points. When you've hit level 99, 119 gear. When you've hit 119 gear, job points. So the latest form of this is capacity point farming. And for those that may not be aware, capacity points are a new set of experience points past level 9. Once you've surpassed your limits, and you earn job points by spending those capacity points. Job points can be spent in any order to upgrade specific job-related stuff, usually like, wow, I can think of 0 examples. Monk, you can enhance, like, the chance of having a kick attack, that kind of stuff. Like, little things that you'd expect to see. So every certain number of job points that you spend on your job, you get a job point gift, like a little tier-up bonus. Starts out at like every 10, eventually like every 50, but there's a lot. Some of these are huge, like Utsuzumi-san for ninjas at 100 job points, but others are a little less exciting, like slightly less hand-to-hand delay after the righteously long 1200 job points on Monk. I looked at that list, I was like, oh, what's the big 1200 point one for Monk? Minus 5% hand-to-hand delay, that's look, I'm sure it's actually very effective at improving the Monk's overall DPS, but like, that is not an exciting gift for 1200 job points. Generally, though, the overall point is, and they add up to an overall huge increase in player strength and overall effectiveness, and it's a big goal for any returning player or player that's just started out to finally grind their way up to master status when you've reached the pinnacle of that job's perfection. But look, this amazing upgrade process of improving your character beyond its limits, earning that master status, the stars above your character's name on that job, I suck at it. I suck at this process. Let's get into why and how I'm trying to break past it. First off, let's get the obvious stuff out of the way. It's kind of a slog. I mean, unless you've completed Rhapsodies of Vana'diel, which you really pretty much have to before you start this, you don't really earn as many capacity points over time. They're like every other experience points gaining system in Final Fantasy 11. Rhapsodies tiers that up, enhances it even further, and capacity points, because it's such like a long grind, you need to have done this to earn an appropriate level of capacity points for your efforts. Now, how much you earn on that specific job also tiers up. One of the job point gifts every once in a while is usually capacity point earnings increase. So like the more time you spend on that job earning capacity points, the faster it'll end up being. So it's slow. There's a lot to work your way through. There's like 2,100, some stupid number like that, total job points that you can spend on any job. And it just takes a while to work your way through that. Each one of those job points is 30,000 capacity points. It's a lot. And in addition to this, if you're just starting out, if you're literally at 0 job points, chances are your gear on that particular job is just so-so. I mean, by your 3rd, 4th, 5th job that you're doing this on, obviously that is not the case. You probably have amazing gear, and you're just the first moment you're starting on that job. But there's a good chance, at least for your first couple jobs, that your gear's just okay. So basically, you have no job points. Your gear is okay. All the enemies you have to face to earn these things are going to rock your world. They're going to annihilate you, especially if you're tackling them alone. Now, it's not impossible with trust, mind you. I mean, many of my early capacity points I earned solo with trust. It's just kind of slow, and you can tell it's going slow. You fight, like every mob takes like 2 to 3 minutes as you're starting out, and you're like, I don't know, this doesn't feel right. Like it's taking forever. And you start to worry that it's never going to happen. You're like, this is going to be an eternity. But each job has a different combination of the perfect trusts that you can use to like be the most efficient depending on your tiers of strength. Like somebody who's amazingly strong will focus all of their trusts on buffing them and like solo skill chains and all that stuff. But if you're just starting out, you probably have to skill chain with the trusts and finding the trusts that complement what weapon skills you have. Maybe you just hit 99, so you don't have all the weapon skills you can. There's just a lot to figure out, and it's constantly evolving and changing as your own strength and options grow. It's crazy. Or really, that should be its own video in itself. It's just trusts. Like all the crazy combinations and really cool ways that you can uniquely approach things with trust. But trusts are its own thing. We'll revisit that eventually. That shouldn't be frustrating, but it kind of is when you're trying to get into a rhythm, figure out how quickly and how efficiently you can earn capacity points. And you pull together this combination of trust, and it's just going slow, and you're like, is this me? Am I too slow? Is it the trusts I picked? Should I try a different set of trusts? Do we have to get into a groove? So you fight like 3 things, it takes forever, and then you try something else, and it can be days I spent weeks trying just different combinations of trust, trying to see if like I could make this process a little bit faster when I first came back, and I'm like, I think it's just kind of slow. And look, this shouldn't be frustrating. This is kind of cool, like, because honestly, Apex mobs are some of my favorite mobs in the game. Way back during Ottergon, when I was, you know, young and whiny and missed skill chains and magic bursts that had long since passed to the ways of merit burns, we used to say like, dear lords of 11, if only you could make mobs more susceptible to skill chain and magic burst damage, we would sure appreciate it. It would bring all that stuff back, because that would be the only way we could tackle these monstrous enemies, and it would be a fun new way of XPing again. And I was like super thrilled. I was like, this idea is amazing. Why don't they do this? Flash forward, they did. Apex mobs are exactly that. They have so much HP. They're like almost impossible to bring down on just damage alone. So skill change and magic bursts are like crucial. It's the core strategy on how to take down these guys. Of course, like I was saying, figuring out how to make that happen with trust kind of funky AI, depending on who you have out, can just be kind of tough all over the place. Like getting into that consistent groove, and then all of a sudden one random guy like throws an extra skill chain. There's ways around that stuff, but early on, it can be very frustrating. All of this is a long explanation for how it is a struggle for new players that are used to doing a lot solo in this new Final Fantasy XI of, you know, 2019 world, breaking into this Apex farming situation and just starting to get some of those job points, and it just like there's a gate. You're kind of like, how do I do this? So of course the easiest explanation, and what I've started to do, is to, you know, revisit what made 11 so fun in the first place, and actually party up with some friends. Like, I have plenty of friends who are playing this game right now. It didn't really make any sense that most of the time I was trying to capacity point farm alone. For some reason, it seems like something I should get out of the way in my side time. When it's just me, I'm like, okay, I'll grind this whenever we have time, and then when we're together, we'll do all the cool fights and stuff. But that's not 11. 11 was about leveling together. It was gathering together as a party to go XP all night. So honestly, it makes more sense to do it as friends, and I don't know why it seems so backwards now. Point is, playing with friends is a lot more fun and a lot faster. It is a lot faster. Of course, this just explains like capacity point farming in general and why it's sort of a struggle as you approach it as a new single player. Let's get into now my personal problems with capacity point farming, which is that I'm really not great at grinding. Now you may say, Hunter from Hunt for Games, that doesn't make any sense. You played Final Fantasy XI for years and years and years. You had plenty of jobs at 75 back when that was an accomplishment. How can this possibly be something that you can say? I don't know. For some reason, like if I see an obtainable goal, like level 65 on Samurai, I see Tachi Gecko coming up and I'm like, oh, I want it bad. It's a new weapon skill. I've only got to grind out like 3 or 4 parties and I can get there. That's easy for me. I'm like, okay, we can do that this week. But when it's just like however many hours of undefinable time of slowly just earning a little bit more strength over and over and over again, it's just harder to push myself to do it. If that makes sense, if I don't have those tiers of earning things, it's just tough to push. And that's why certain jobs were much harder for me to level when they didn't have those like really cool moments of earning stuff. Thief, if it wasn't like the most amazing job ever, between 33 and 60, there's not much. Also, I don't know if I've gotten lazier about my approach to MMOs in general, or maybe I've just been spoon-fed too long. This really could be a problem. So many years of MMOs constantly trying to drip feed you amazing little bits of progress, and then you kind of take that away a little bit, and all of a sudden I'm like, I don't want to play this trash. That's not what I mean, but it is weird. But regardless of the reason, when there's too much of a gap between fun, flashy, awesome changes like new abilities and weapon skills, spells, that kind of stuff, I lose motivation. It's hard for me to get motivated about that stuff. Now, if any of the above issues that I've talked about were the only issue at all, it would be easier to get past, but they all kind of combine into this huge festering, like, I just don't really want to do it. And then I see this amazing cool new job that I've never really played before, like Rune Fencer, sitting on the sidelines. It's only level 49. I still have to level it a little bit. I'll get all these cool new abilities. I can learn all the new things it can do. Whole new gear sets that I can earn and combine and figure out and craft together for like optimal damage and stuff. I've done a lot of that in the jobs that I'm in capacity point farming. So I'm like, ugh. It's just hard. It's hard to look at those 1,200 to 2,200 job points and say, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Or a job that I've barely leveled and be like, yes, I will earn like 3 new things in the next 20 minutes and I'll have tons of time to explore that. I'd love to know your own thoughts down in the comments. Like, have I gotten soft in my old age, which I totally accept is probably partially the case, like just refusing to dig in and really grind out the hard stuff to achieve true in-game Final Fantasy XI power? Or is this just kind of annoying? Because the funny part is, CP farming these days with a few well-geared friends, like true players with you, and if you have like decent gear, it's nothing compared to the ridiculously long challenge of actually leveling to 75 back in the day. But it feels different for some reason. Now, whenever this comes up, I do say to myself that I wish capacity point mobs, Apex mobs, were spread throughout Vanadil. And you could like level through them like you level through the game. Like there would be Dooms level Apex mobs, and once you kind of did those for a little while, you'd have to go to Quiffum level Apex mobs. And I think that would be amazing and so cool and make the experience a little bit more enjoyable because you'd be like working your way through it. Part of the problem is that you stay in these areas, these red tunnels, blue tunnels, and nothing changes. You can farm the entirety of your capacity points on the same raptor that you started farming them on. Never moving, never changing, just red forever. And that's actually pretty efficient. But still, that's again not really the point. It's another complaint, but it's just sort of the combination of all these things. I've always struggled to put that much time and energy into only one job. I've always been a spread the wealth kind of guy. I love Final Fantasy XI as a game. I love all these jobs, all these classes. I've always wanted to explore it and experience it in different ways. That's why I leveled Summoner and Dragoon and Thief and Samurai and Black Mage and Monk and Pup and Blue. I love switching jobs. It's one of my favorite things. I love being able to solve and tackle problems with those different jobs and fit that one niche part of a problem that like we need that day. I'm like, this will be perfect for my summoner. Good news, I've leveled that. So when you look at something like capacity point farming, it's just this big long grind. I'm like, that's only one job. I'm putting all that time and effort into one job, and it just kind of it holds me off a little bit. But in 2019, there comes a point where if you want to progress, if you want to do more stuff in 11, and I do, eventually you just got to buckle down and do it. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to work on this. And the job that I've chosen to do it with is the first job I came back to in 2017, 16? Blue Mage. I've got to break past this weird mental gate I have with the grinding of capacity points. I don't think it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be fun. There's the campaign going on right now, so it's like double, triple, quadruple XP. I don't know, some crazy amount of XP they just kind of throw at you. And I'm doing it with friends. We're going to be partying together. We're going to be really focusing in on this, and I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. Blue's a great pick too, because I don't know if you know this, but it has amazing like strength tier ups at 100, which I earned very easily, and I was like, I need that 100. But then you see the next one at 1200, I was like, I might wait. I'm gonna shoot for that 1200. That one I think will be easy to get to because I really, really want it. Beyond that, tougher to go. But yeah, Blue Mage is a nice, flexible job. Everybody's always been asking me like, why don't you go back to Blue? There's so many cool things it can do, and it really can do a lot of cool things. I love being able to do different stuff in different ways, and I think Blue's a great starting place to do that. Then I can start working on the other jobs and doing job points on them as well, but for now, I can focus in on Blue Mage. And I've already done the hard part. I learned like almost all the spells. I literally have almost all the spells. Everyone that's important by far. So what am I doing? Frankly, this conversation, this video has been mostly a discussion about, Apex mobs and capacity point farming and how like I've struggled with that mentally to just enjoy that for what it is. But it's sort of how I've approached 11 nowadays in general. Without those near future rewards constantly held in front of me, I have struggled to get into a lot of the current endgame stuff that requires a little bit of a randomness sometimes, some grinding. I mean, there's so much that's like, you get a drop right here, you instantly are better. And then there's other stuff where it's like, you want that weapon though, you need 3 billion blue dots. I actually am sort of avoiding Ninja right now because I've got that relic weapon and I need 30,000 blue dots. I'm like, I just don't really want to. Those near future rewards hanging like a carrot in front of me, I often avoid a lot of the cooler objectives that I can now actually do in 11 that were previously totally outside the realm of possibility. But now they're there. I could do it. I'm lazy. So I'm trying to get back into 11 and play like I used to, slowly working my way towards really cool goals, those eventual objectives, without worrying about how soon I can get them. But what are your thoughts? Is it the sameness of capacity point farming, the few and far between rewards, like new spells, new abilities? Or have I just been super lazy about my approach to Modern 11? I can totally appreciate both sides of this, and some might even say that my laziness is warranted, but I don't know. Hit me up in the comments, because with stuff like Pantheon somewhere on the near horizon, I doubt these grinds are going to be the hardest that I ever do. So I gotta figure this out, and I gotta break through my like MMO barrier of like, I can't, it's too hard. Come join us Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for some fun, enjoyable streams of mostly Final Fantasy 11, but all sorts of retro and fun video games, just to hang out. If you're interested in finding out other ways you can support the channel, check out the Patreon, the link below, or just join the Discord to come chat with us. I love talking about this stuff. And otherwise, I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in more videos like this, think about subscribing. And if you already have, don't forget to click that little bell next to the sub button to get notified when new videos go live. Hit me up in the comments with your thoughts on this video, or come hang out and chat with me on Twitch every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And definitely look me up on Twitter or Instagram and Hunt for Games to keep up with what else I've got going on. See ya.